Oh man, where do we start? When I got my first real check, I didn't know what I was doing with the money when I first got it. Like a lot of us, I wound up losing it, being able to get it back tenfold. But you know, it was a very valuable lesson.
What's going on? It's your boy Aristotle Investments. I'm live and back with another episode of Kicking It with the OGs. I'm with the legendary DJ Drama, Mixtape legend, music executive, Grammy Award winner. We about to drop so many gems. And if you are an aspiring DJ, you definitely need to tap in.
I would just go online and look at the money in my account every day, you know, and think that because it was in a savings account, it was doing something. You know, the mixtape game was literally like the Wild Wild West. The average span of an artist is like 2, 3, maybe 4 years. If you make it to 10, like you did it. You know, I've always felt like I was destined for greatness.
What's going on? It's your boy Aristotle Investments. I got the legend, DJ Drama, in the building. We back with another episode of Kicking It with the OGs, all right? So he's a legendary guy. I've been listening to him since I was, maybe 5, 6. I can't even, I was born in 96. He moved to Atlanta in 96. I found that out.
It's a special year.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just go ahead and kick off the show with the first question. So what was your first breakthrough moment as a DJ?
First off, how you doing, man? Thanks for
How you
having
doing?
me.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Pleasure to meet you. My first breakthrough moment as a DJ, it's kind of a loaded question because I feel like I've had so many. So like the simplest answer would probably be like when I first started DJing, my goal as a young high school student was to get my name on a flyer. Back in the day, and in my day, you know, they used to have like printed flyers for all the parties and things like that. And up near the subway station where I would go to high school, people would pass them out, you know, after school and everything. And I would always, you know, see all these DJ names on there and everything. And I'd be like, man, like, damn, I want to get my name on a flyer. So I told myself like that was my goal, like when I first started DJing. So
You started DJing in high school.
yep, I started DJing literally probably like between middle school and high school. I had went to go see the movie Juice. Starring Tupac and Omar Epps, and you know Omar Epps' character in the movie, DJ GQ. That was what really inspired me. So yeah, so going into high school, I had just like started like DJing as a hobby, and then I found mixtapes like between the summer of 9th and 10th grade. I discovered mixtapes in a sense, like heard my first one. So that's probably the simplest answer for breakthrough. Out beyond that, it's like it's been so many moments in my career that, you know, have had such trajectories that have taken me to so many heights.
You don't remember the first one where it was like that
mean,
rush? What was your first rush? Like, wow.
One of my first rushes was probably definitely hearing like a car playing a Gangster Grills, like being in the city. I was living in a 4-4 at the time, and you know I just remember like, and I used to drive. I had a white Montero. I don't remember what year it was, but this is in the early 2000s, so it was probably like a 98 or 99 or something. And somebody
You were in Atlanta.
Yeah, I was in Atlanta. I moved to Atlanta in 96. And somebody pulled up in something foreign. Definitely probably, you know, about 5, 6 times with my vehicle it cost it. And I heard my voice and I heard Gangster Grills. And I was like, you know, and that was a dream of mine because I came up like in the Clue era, and, you know, and like hearing Clue and, you know, his drop and his iconic voice was always the shit, you know, for us even as a fan. So I was like, man, I can't wait till one day I hear my shit playing out of cars. And I remember that moment. So yeah, that was big.
So I definitely want to know this. How did you learn the skill, and what made you believe that you could do it?
A lot of it was was really self-taught. I came up in an era, obviously. I'm a kid in the '90s, so we didn't have the outlets that or the accessibility that people later got in life. So we just had to kind of fuck around. Like, I knew to buy two vinyls of every song. You know what I'm saying? I was just that was a DJ thing. So you would have doubles. So you would have the same song. You would, just kind of like blend it, bring it back, cut and scratch, like do little tricks and things like that. So a lot of it was self-taught. There were early. I remember having VHS tapes of like early DJ battles. So like they were called DMC battles, and I watched those from time to time. But that was a specific type of DJing. So there's different types of DJs. There's battle DJs, there's mixtape DJs, there's club DJs, there's radio DJs, and I was such a student of the game, so I studied them all. So even from a mixtape perspective, I learned from listening to other people's mixtape. I mean, my first mixtape was this tape called Illadelph, and it literally was a copy and paste of DJ Doo-Wop's 95 Live, which is a classic, legendary mixtape from the 90s. And I just totally stole his style and at the time, and was influenced by him because he had done something that was revolutionary, and he was the first person to ever have like MCs freestyling on a mixtape outside of records and things like that. And then to the second part of your question, I remember being pretty young, even before I ever found DJing, and had this like keen sense of kind of wanting to be famous. I remember like wanting to be an actor, or like there was something about fame that like definitely I had it sparked my interest. And I always definitely say, like, coming from Philly, like we have a extreme hustler's mentality. So the mixture of being a hustler and just really wanting to go out and get it, and being like, I've always been somewhat independent in a sense. So it never really was about like if I can do it. It kind of was more of like when am I going to do it?
So you already knew like you were capable of doing whatever you put your mind to at an early age.
Absolutely.
At what age like did you really develop that mindset of like I can do whatever I believe I set my mind to?
Like I said, I remember being young and either even outside of wanting to, just kind of feeling like or knowing that like I was going to be famous. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't even know how or what was going to get me there. You know what I mean? And it's kind of weird thinking about it, because like now fame is not the most valuable currency to what I've done with my career. You know what I'm saying? And thankfully I found something that I really had a passion for and a love for. I mean, hip hop has always been a passion and a love. But even when I was in high school, I was voted most likely to be famous. Newspaper had came and did a story on my school, and they had they put a picture of me in the blur, was like Mr. Personality, or when I
So
came.
you were popular even as a teenager?
Yeah, I was. I mean, I had a little like rep even in Philly, in the hip hop scene, like before I came to Atlanta. So
you graduated high school before you moved to Atlanta in '96. So you graduated before '96.
Yeah, I graduated in '96.
In '96.
I graduated in '96, and came to Atlanta that same year to go to CAU. And then even when I got to CAU, like I was off to the races. I was doing all the
Clark
college.
Atlanta.
Yeah, Clark Atlanta. I was
My mom, dang, you were there exactly when my mom was there. My
Really?
mom was in Clark Atlanta '96.
Yeah, that's crazy. I might know your mom.
And I was born, in '96.
So she came to school and had you like, was
She
96
was
her freshman year, or she was,
nah.
she's a couple years older.
Yeah, she's
probably.
probably class of '93, high school.
Got
but
you, got you.
Yeah.
See, I missed the good Freaknik days. She was you might be a Freaknik baby.
I am. So yeah, I am. So you know, for real. So
But yeah, but just to go
Yeah.
back real quick, like again, like it was all. Even if when I go back, sometimes I look at my yearbook and I look at the things that people used to write me, and it just was like, you know, I've always felt like I was destined for greatness in some way, and I'm thankful that I found my path because, you know, for a time, I had wanted to be a film director. You know, my sister was in a film, and you know, I went to school for that. So like DJing was still kind of like a hobby. Like, you know, I don't know if I envisioned like this is what if I would be here because of DJing, but it obviously was. You know, it was the way to the end, to the finish line. Not the finish line, but you know what I mean.
Have you always wanted to invest in stocks, learn the stock market, interested in trading to earn another stream of income? Let's just say the average person in America makes $20 an hour. That's only $160 after an 8-hour shift. With my best-selling option trading beginners course, 6-step process to being a profitable trader, free books, and you even get to watch videos of me teaching celebrities like DC Young Fly from scratch. I can cut your time to make $200 plus in a day in just 1 to 2 hours. Don't believe me? Check out these gangs of accounts from different people that I help flip their accounts 100%. Yes, that means double the money in their accounts. For only $35, you get the best beginners course, 1 week access to my world famous trading signals. I have an 85% win rate already this year, 30 plus hours of additional training, a library of free books, a free beginners Q&A session with you at the end of the week via Zoom link. And I meet up with my community at all the major cities in America annually. You're basically in free because the return on investment I'll give you for only $35, just $5 a day, will 10x. Think about it. If the world shuts down again like the 2020 pandemic, how will you survive if your job decides to lay you off? All of these robots are taking our jobs, but they can't take the stock market. This stream of income could be earned while at home, no boss, and no behind kissing. Tap in, link in the description, or I'll pin the link in the comments. Keep watching. I'm definitely a financial literacy guy, and I love asking financial questions because my generation is very money driven before passion. And then they want to, what's the money? Now that's my passion type thing, right? So I want to know this. What's something you would have told your younger self that would have made your DJ career more profitable? Like you can go back and tell yourself, I should have did it this way. Like what mistakes would you correct?
Oh man, where do we start?
Man,
You ever seen Back to the Future?
I have.
So Back to the Future 2, like when Biff had that almanac and he went back in time and gave it to his younger self, like if I could go back in time and like give myself a list of like all the artists that I need to sign, and I could like sign them as soon as they turned 18, and you know, I would go and do that and like be a billionaire by now. But there's a lot of things. I mean, honestly, you know, I come from a middle class background. My mom is in education. She was a teacher for all of my life. My dad is like in grassroots liberal politics in a sense. He worked for this organization that did a lot of community work overseas. So I say that to say, like, when I first like got money or got my first real check or checks, like, you know, I put it in the bank, and you know, I made a couple purchases, but I never knew about investing or like portfolios or what to do with the money. And you know, again, I don't come from money, so I didn't even have anyone in my family necessarily that advised me. You know what I'm saying? So I would just, go online and on Bank of America website and just look at the money in my account every day, and think that because it was in a savings account, it was doing something. You know what I'm saying? So, I didn't I had a situation, a infamous situation in 2007 where I got raided and they took everything from me at the time, but just thinking back on it, like, if I would have known then what I know now, just about investing or, stocks, bonds, real estates, like, so just diversifying your portfolio, so many things to do with the money instead of just looking at it sitting in the bank, you know what I'm saying? Or even me thinking like, just holding a lot of cash and just having cash on hand is just the smartest thing to do instead of, making my money work for itself, you know what I'm saying? To, triple and quadruple my money. So from a financial standpoint, that would definitely be one of the things I would tell myself. Other than that, though, I do believe that, a lot of things happen for a reason. So, my career has taken me on a path that if I would have done something different, I might not be where I'm at. And I'm very blessed to be where I'm at. But, I probably would have, again, just given myself a little tips and secrets on, where the business was going to go or the changes that were going to come in the future.
So basically what I heard out of all of that was you had opportunities to sign artists but didn't put paperwork up, and you feel like you should have been more financially smart as to where you invested that money that you had in the beginning. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Definitely when it comes to the money aspect. Like, I didn't know what I was doing with the money when I first got it.
I don't think anyone did.
Yeah, and like a lot of us, I wound up losing it, and being able to get it back tenfold. But it was a very valuable lesson. You know what I'm saying? That first time getting that money, and that wasn't even the case for me where it was like I got money and I blew it. It was literally taken from me, and I had to get it back. And then on the other side, as far as like signing artists or, I didn't get to a point in my career where I was prepared to run a label or to be an executive till after I had gone through some of the ranks. I had been doing that shit, and me and DJ Sense and Don Cannon, we had been doing that shit on a mixtape level, on a street level for years. I mean,
just off the strength.
We were literally A&Rs, by what we were doing with our platforms.
So y'all weren't like just doing business. Like,
there was business involved, of course. I was
Right.
definitely making money from the mixtapes, but I'm just saying, like, we were also making other people way more money. People would come to us to break their artists, and we would give them the platform, and then but in a sense they weren't signed to us, and you know what I mean. Like, so I didn't, I might have gotten a check for doing the tape or been able to make some money off of that individual
the equity
project.
is what you wish you would have handled. I know what you're saying. It's
Absolutely.
equity.
It's
Equity.
definitely equity. And then, later on, there were artists that me and Lake and Cannon, together and individually had opportunities to sign that didn't work out, but they were learning lessons. So, when an opportunity did present itself, which was Little Uzi Vert, we jumped at it because, we had, and I don't want to say made the mistake, but because we had, missed out on
So
some previous artists that were like, yeah, no, like, it's time, let's do it. So yeah, I mean, I think that, I had to get into a space in my career, but I also, I didn't understand or probably, realize my value earlier on, nor did I know much about publishing.
You were way too humble back in the day, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm probably still way too humble, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I pop a lot of shit on the mixtapes, but like, It's definitely very important to
Know your worth.
know your worth, and uh, put your balls out on the table. Pause when it's time. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, so even earlier on, like, I think if I would have understood my value a little more, I could have turned it into a bigger profit.
So if I could ask you, now that you do understand your value, what would have you have valued yourself back in the day?
What you mean?
Because you said you wish you would have understood your value.
So I'm saying, like, okay,
what would you have valued yourself? Or if you would have said, okay, I should have did this deal that way. If you could give a young dude who wants to be a DJ a lesson and say, don't make the mistake of not valuing yourself.
yeah, don't look at yourself just like a DJ, like, understand your brand value and what you're bringing to the table. And I think that, there are great examples of those who have come after me that have done amazing jobs at that as well.
Could you name some? Who?
DJ Mustard,
Okay.
Metro Boomin,
Metro.
Mike Will.
Mike Will.
Yeah, I mean, those are all.
And you feel like they handle the mistakes that you made?
Well,
if that makes sense.
I look at them in a sense of they figured it out at a younger age than I may have, I mean, but again, I don't know that the ages, they were all probably a little younger than me when they first got popping, but everybody's story or lane is their own, you know what I'm saying? So, I definitely don't have any regrets in that sense, but yeah, looking back on it, when people would have came to me to work with their artists, instead of me saying, okay, give me 25 grand just to do a project, like, well, let's talk about a different type of business. How can
Residual.
I be involved on another side of things?
So there are a lot of mixtapes that we heard you on from back in the day that you may not be profiting from residually to this day, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, really, I don't profit off any mixtapes from back in the day anymore. I mean, that, those times are over. Those are just iconic projects that live in the universe, unless there are small cases of some of them that can be up on streaming platforms, and if done correctly, it's very complicated because, the mixtape game was literally like the Wild Wild West,
I loved it.
It was a great time, but you didn't have to worry about splits and, publishing and, royalties and, sign offs and things like that.
There's a lot of drama that comes with that when it's time to talk about who gets what.
I wouldn't call it
or
drama.
It's kind of clear and cut.
It's paperwork. It's lawyers and it's legality. You know what I mean? It's business. You know what I'm saying? So and it's there for a good reason, like due process. Like, if somebody produces a beat and said artist raps on that beat and then that shit blows up, you know what I'm saying? That producer should be compensated for that. Back in the mixtape days, we was just taking anything and whoever wanted to rap on it rapped on it, and it would go crazy. It would turn into their song, you know what I'm saying? So now obviously, we live in a different era. And even though, when some of those projects come back around, like on streaming platforms, you gotta cross those T's and dot those I's to get it correct.
So cool. So in your opinion, what killed the mixtape era, in your opinion?
What killed the mixtape era?
Or do you believe it's dead?
Nah, I don't think it ever died. I think it really arose like a phoenix in a sense. I think the initial headshot was the raid on my studio in 2007, when me and Don Cannon were arrested for bootlegging and racketeering, which sent shockwaves through the music business as a whole, and pretty much, sent a deafening cry through the mixtape world, because at the time, I was I was top of the food chain, you know what I'm saying? So everybody else looked at it like, man, if Drum can go down, like nobody's safe. So if we put it in perspective, that happened in 2007. 2007 was also a transitioning time when people were starting to not just get their music from a physical standpoint, but they were going to the internet for their music. So the blog era spawned from around that time.
Like
and
with Soldier Boy and all that, the MySpace
Soldier,
and all
exactly. So
Yeah.
Soldier Boy was one of those artists who benefited from that era, or just the blog era. You think about people like Wale and the Cool Kids and Wiz Khalifa and
Right.
and Cole and Drake and Kendrick. Like the blogs became the new mixtape. So people would go to a Nah Right or a Rap Radar, and that's where they would get. That's where you would hear the new songs that you used to hear on mixtapes. And then
I was a live mixtape guy.
yeah, so that era happened because
I'm talking about that era. Like, what do you think killed the live mixtape, that Piff? Because that was my favorite era of music.
Yeah, I mean,
Streaming?
Streaming killed it. Apple, Tidal, Spotify, like that was it. When artists started to put mixtapes directly to Apple and or call their albums mixtapes, and you would go to Apple or Spotify to get them, that was it for that Piff or live mixtapes or my mixtapes. They couldn't compete anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because at the time, a lot of people don't even realize, like, even when we talk about like financials, like the money I made after the raid, the money I made working with businesses or sites like Live Mixtapes and Dat Piffs was way larger than the money I was making in the streets, back in the earlier 2000s. Like Dat Piff was cutting me, monthly checks just to be exclusive to them, on top of when I brought a project to them or an artist. And then, then the money started increasing so much that it got to the point where not only were they paying the DJs, they started to have to pay the artists. So, numerous artists got checks from those websites. And then, once that started to happen, and then the transition came where, Apple came and started offering, their platform for artists to drop their tapes. And it was like,
that was more profitable than them dropping it on live mixtapes and all of that.
Absolutely, because it not only was it more profitable, it gained a wider audience. Because as much as like we know about Dat Piff or live mixtapes or my mixtapes, like everybody doesn't know about those sites.
I don't think white people know about that.
You feel what I'm saying? So they didn't know where to get some of that music. They like some of that music is still lost to this day because people don't know where to get it.
Exactly. I still go to live mixtapes to this day to go get my original, all of that.
You feel what I'm saying? So, if you're accustomed to having your phone and having Apple Music or having, one of the other streaming sites, if it's not on there, you don't think it exists. So, most artists wanted their projects to live, on those platforms because it got to a wider audience.
Okay. So you've been at this for almost, a little over 2 decades, correct?
More than that. I mean,
you in this 30 years?
Go back. Yeah, I started DJing in '92, so I've been DJing for 32 years. Yeah. So professionally, so I moved to Atlanta in '96. I'd say like 96 to 2000 is like my college years. So I was like, like if I'm a ball player, like I was balling in college. And then I came out. I came out 2000. I was moving in the streets. So I wouldn't say I really went professional till like 03. 03 was probably like my quote unquote rookie year in the in the business.
So can I ask you this? Do you feel like it's easier or harder to break an artist now than it was back in the day?
I mean, there's pros and cons. The con is that you got 125,000 new songs that come out on streaming platforms every Thursday night at midnight. The pro is that you don't need the machine to necessarily get it into people's hands. You can do it from grassroots. Like you can literally break from a social media platform. So talent is talent. People that have drive, have passion, have talent, that goes a long way. Hustle is very important too, and intellect, these are all key factors, and when I say
So you feel like an artist has to be smart?
Someone around that artist has to be smart.
Why do you say that?
Because I mean, you just can't. You can't just. You can luck up on a hit record. You can luck up on a hit record, but you can't luck up on a
good
lasting
business
career. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. We've seen many hit records through the last 50 years of hip hop, you know what I mean? But, people, again, I mean, it's like professional sports. If you think about it, like the average span of an artist is like 2, 3, maybe 4 years. If you make it to 10, like you did it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you got 10 years in the business, like you're here. You know what I'm saying? Anything past that, like when we're talking about 2 decades and plus, that's legendary status. You know
Yeah, you got to be smart at that point.
100%. That shit's not easy, bro. And if it was easy to make a hit, everybody would have one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'd be handing them out. Like that shit doesn't come easy at all. So yeah, and I mean, again, like I say, I think it's pros and cons from the time where when I was coming up to where it is now. I'm thankful I come from the era I come from, especially even being a teenager in the 90s, just to have experienced that, and for that to be my golden era of hip hop. You know what I mean? I think it definitely it made me who I am. But also the other thing, and a very wise DJ Enough told me this many years ago. He told me that as far as being a DJ, because we're like the mediums of the music, and a DJ's career can more times than not outlast an artist's career. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So being on that side, and then even with my background, like being a mixtape DJ and coming from where I literally felt like I was always addicted to the new shit. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it hasn't stagnated me in my years or my age, in a sense where I'm not stuck in an era. For me, it's like, obviously my record label is called Generation Now. So, with that, like, and we live in a time in a space where hip hop has turned 50, artists can have careers long past where they may once have had. You know what I mean? At one point in hip hop, if you was 30 or 35, you're too old. It was over. Like that's not the game no more. You know what I'm saying? Because it's evolved, but it's still a young man sport. I think the kids still dictate what it is when it comes to the culture.
So do you feel like social media ruined hip hop or blew its cover in a way?
No, I definitely don't think like social media ruined hip hop. I mean, social media might have ruined society more than hip hop. It definitely blew its cover because, you know, it created a space where, you know, the allure of what a rap star once was, like, isn't necessarily that no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, even the artists that didn't want to get on social media at some point, you know, had to figure out their lane, or, you know, how to interact with their fan base. And, you know, social media can show the real. Like, you know, a lot of artists have shown that they're corn on the cob based on their social media. Like,
You're right though.
I remember during the Twitter years and looking at, reading certain artists' tweets and just be like, man, this nigga is corny. Like, he can rap his ass off, but this nigga is corny, you know?
Right.
And there's been plenty of artists who have come up in the social media era who have, like, extremely taken advantage of it. And
Right, they're better on social media than they were artists.
there's definitely that, you know, and then and it's helped people out. Like, you know, people always use Fab as an example. Like, you know, before Twitter, like, people didn't know Fab. If you didn't know Fab, you didn't know him for being as funny as he is, or, you know, the type of personality that he had. And Twitter did wonders for him for that. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, he was the hashtag king. He was he would make, you know, hashtags go viral. He was, you know, just cracking jokes and things like that. So, you know, social media is a gift and a curse for everything in society. You know, there's a lot of bad, but there's also a lot of good. You know what I mean? I mean, even when we think about, like, politics, or like something like police brutality, like, you know, the images and the messages get spread a lot faster because of social media. I mean, just like the reason why Rodney King was such a thing in the early 90s is because someone had a camcorder filming it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, now in the last 10, 15 years, you know, we see those images, you know, unfortunately 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a year, because it's phones everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Imagine, you know, in the last 100 some years, how much police brutality would have been caught on camera or been seen by social media if it existed.
Okay. So I know, like,
I know I'm going a lot of
no.
different places here.
You talking that I'm hearing you. So I know my generation would definitely like to know this. So if we wanted to become someone like a DJ Drama, a DJ Khaled, a Mustard, a Metro Boomin, what would you, in 2024, what would be the first 3 steps you would tell a young man to take if he wanted to become one of y'all? Like a household DJ Drama, DJ Khaled, all y'all.
Yeah, I definitely believe it's very, especially when you talk about a producer, a DJ, someone who makes music, who feeds an audience music, like, you know, that comes from a place of passion. You know what I'm saying? Most of us got into it first and foremost because we loved music. And with that, I think it's very important to be a student of the game, you know, in every aspect. Like, you know, I could only imagine what it'd be like growing up now, you know, trying to be who we are. Like, I was starving for everything hip hop when I was a teenager. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
every Friday night I would run to the radio and turn on Radioactive on Power 99 in Philly to hear hip hop, or after school I would run home to watch Rap City or Yo MTV Raps. And, you know, like, when The Source would come out, you would read it from page to page over and over. Or, you know, don't let a hip hop book come out. Like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying?
So you feel like the passion is lost today?
Or a movie, like what we was, you know, like all of our movies are literally gems. I mean, if you think about, you know, like from Boys to Men, Boys in the Hood to Juice to Menace to New Jack, you know, or anything that revolved around, you know, black culture or hip hop. You know what I'm saying? We thrived off of it. Now, like, you know, I can sit on YouTube all day long and search the most intricate part of the culture that I want. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I say that to say, like, you know, be a student of the game, like soak it all in, like, you know, read books, you know, like read L.A. Reid's book. You know, if you want to be in radio, like read Angie Martinez's book. You know, watch interviews, listen to music before, you know, before your time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, even with Serato, as far as being a DJ, like, you know, try to even if you have to work a 9 to 5 or go to college or do something, like I used to always make sure that I gave myself like an hour during the day dedicated to my craft. Like even when I was in school and I had a job, like when I would come home, I would give myself at least an hour to practice, to work on a mixtape or do something. You know what I'm saying? Just, you got to find some time.
So you actually had a 9 to 5 before?
Plenty of them.
While you were DJing?
Definitely.
So like while we was hearing your music, you know,
not by the time y'all
not
was
Gangster Grills.
No, not this was before. By the time Gangster Grills came out, I was hustling. Now again, I was still hustling. Like, you know, my hustle then was to go to various colleges and set up a tape. I used to sell my own mixtapes. So I would go to different colleges and sell mixtapes, and people would be like, "Who's DJ Drama?" I'd be like, "I don't know. I just work for him." You know what I'm saying?
The man right here said he paid for his Jordans, and you helped him
That's love.
like get his way through college, like have money to go to college because he used to sell your mixtapes.
I love to hear that. I love to hear that. Yeah. So, you know, but earlier when I was DJing, like when I was in school, I worked at the movie theater. There used to be a movie theater in Lenox. I worked there. I worked at California Pizza Kitchen. I worked at Mellow Mushroom.
You fuck with the pizza.
Yeah, I had 2 pizza jobs. I had I worked at UPS when I was in high school. Yeah, I had some jobs, and then my last like job, I got a job at Turner, at like not CNN but Turner. I was in
like the Braves Stadium.
Not in the Braves Stadium, but in the Turner building.
Oh, Turner, like with the Cartoon Network.
Off 11th Street. It was all of the Turner properties.
Yeah, Turner. Yeah.
So yeah, that was actually my last quote unquote real job. Okay, so all right, so I said be a student in the game, study your craft. Always look, I don't want to get this wrong. It's lateral, right? When you look to your left and right? Is that lateral?
Let's just run with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean, or what are you trying to say by it?
So what I'm trying to say is...
Keep your head on a swivel?
No, what I'm trying to say is that, like, sometimes people call my phone now, right? Mm-hmm. And they'll just randomly get my number. And be like, yo, I'm so-and-so. I just got your number. I got an artist, or I do this, and I need you to check them out. And I'm one of the nice guys, because most people in my position or higher either would bang on them, cuss them the fuck out, or God knows what. Like, why are you just randomly calling my phone? I don't know you. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
But I be jeweling them. And what my jewel is that, like, when I was coming up, like, Lake Show, my business partner, Don Cannon, DJ Sense, so many people I went to college with, we were all around each other, all aspiring to do great things. You know what I'm saying? And you know, at the time we were all starving, and I'm not even say starving artists because some of these people are like in business and you know other avenues of life, and instead of trying to like look upwards, like I couldn't just call Jay-Z or call Funk Flex or like just reach out to whoever was the hottest at the time and be like, yo, I'm DJ Drama. I'm gonna be the hottest DJ in the world one day. I'm telling you, like I'm gonna be on fire. I'm gonna be a legend. I might be known as one of the greatest to ever do it. They'd have been like, kid, beat it. Now, granted, it's factual, but that's not how it works. You feel what I'm saying?
So you saying too many times people are trying to tell people what they're going to be, and they want them to believe it.
One of my greatest blessings is it's almost like perfect rhyming. Like living in a 4-4, my neighbor was Coach K.
Damn.
Because I met Coach K through the neighborhood. He was managing Jeezy, and we made a connection. Jason Jeter, who was business partners and managed T.I., got my mixtape from a barbershop. Now, all these people that I'm mentioning and naming, we were all coming up together.
Was that barbershop owned by Dutch?
I
A
don't
man
know.
named Dutch?
It might have been. I don't know where Jeter went, but
Yeah.
they had my mixtape in it. Thank God, and I had my phone number on the back of it.
That's
So the first time anybody ever called me to do a freestyle or come see me because of my mixtape was Jason Jeter and T.I. That was the first time I ever got a call like, yo, I'm trying to bring somebody through. So now imagine if I'd have said no, you know what I'm saying? Look at where we are today. But I say that to say like we came up together, you know what I'm saying? Like when Jeezy was hustling and trying to make a name for himself, so was DJ Drama. When Tip was trying to make a name for himself, so was DJ Drama. When Lake Show was learning the business and about management and touring and things of that nature, like DJ Drama was coming up as a DJ. I wasn't necessarily trying to aim to the stars. And I'm not saying you can't get on like that. You know, there's been great success stories. Big Sean rapped in front of Kanye West and got signed. You know what I'm saying? And it, you know, and it worked for him. You know what I mean? But I just believe in building movements. You know what I mean? Like, and even if you look at people like Metro and like Mustard, like, you know, you look at the people that they worked with and worked around, like YG and Nipsey and Metro, and you know what was going on in Atlanta. Like it's about creating movements, and then next thing you know, the whole world's paying attention, and everybody wants to work with you. So it's like
you saying build with somebody.
I'm saying
would be the first step instead of trying to skip the line.
Exactly.
Skipping the line don't work.
Nah, look to your left, look to your right, man. There's somebody sitting next to you, right in front of you, behind you, that wants to, if not do what you want to do, something similar to what you want to do, and y'all come together and build that together. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's been plenty of success stories like that. Look at LeBron and his team. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're kids from Akron, from Ohio. Like, you know, they didn't go to school for that. You know what I'm saying? They weren't, you know, masterminds of the fields they're in. Now they're in what? Sports, spirits, entertainment. Like, they got their hands in everything, you know, food distribution, like, you know, and that comes from, you know, having good people around you and moving laterally and, you know, being smart enough to build with those that
it's definitely a blessing you were next door neighbors with Coach K and T.I. So like
it's destiny.
that too, though, too, like it's destiny that too. And it's a blessing. I be telling people that too. That's a prime example of what I'm saying. People be like, hey dog, I want to be like you. I want to be like DJ Drama. And what I tell somebody sometimes is, you never know those type of blessings that were only meant for that person.
100%.
Like
There's
the
so
certain
many
stuff that
stories
happened
like
to me.
that.
Like for instance, I bought Jason Jeter's house and Coach K. I met him through buying a first class flight to Dallas, and he was sitting right next to me. And I saw him at Houston's, and we talked about that, and then I got his number. So now I know both of the people that he know just on some of the same stuff. I randomly was searching for a house when I was in the Army. I made an M, bought Jason Jeter house in 2020. Didn't know that a lot of people lived in that house. Omar Epps lived in that house. Young Dro lived in that house. Fantasia lived in that house. So Jason Jeter would rent out his house to artists. You probably been there before at one point in time. It's off Butner.
Yep.
So you know it.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Yeah, so I bought that house. I stayed there for like 2 years, bought it for $600, sold it for $900. Yeah, like in 2 years, I sold it in 2022.
That's amazing.
I was 23 when I bought it. But I do want to get into more questions too.
I don't think I gave a third, but
Oh, a third.
I think I gave enough.
No, what's a third one?
A third one would be, so I said, student of the game, move lateral.
If they want to get started now,
If they want to get,
where would they learn this? Like, how do you learn how to be a DJ? Do you feel like they gotta go to Full Sail or something?
nah,
like
that's
that
easy. Nah, you ain't got to do none of that. You can go to YouTube now. I mean,
For real?
yeah, you all the tools are there. That part about it is literally handed to you.
So you don't have to go to school no more. Just YouTube and you good.
The only thing you need to go to school for is to meet people and connections and stuff like that. Like, I have a college degree. I've never used it, but it was the greatest experience of my life because of the people that I met and, being at that place in that time, during that, time in life, you know what I'm saying? But it's not about the degree, and I learned, my father told me that when I was a teenager. He was like, the friends you make in college are your lifelong friends. So, yeah, I say that to say, like, yeah, it's nothing wrong with going to Full Sail or any other school, but it's not because that's where you have to go to get the information. It's like about the connections and the environment of, what you can get from that. You don't need nothing these days to.
Because you didn't learn this from engineering school.
Nah, I ain't never been to.
You just learned it from hands-on and networking.
That's it. I mean, there's no school for making a mixtape. I mean, technically, what I brought to the mixtape game, like, didn't even really exist before me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't invent the wheel, but the way I talk my shit on mixtapes, that no, people weren't doing that. They were doing shout outs and talking about, shout to this person, that person, and what store was copping the tapes and their neighborhoods and things like that. Like, I'm on there preaching, talking that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody was doing that before me. So you can't. That's not a school for that. Like, that's just in you. And it's the last thing I'll say will be that believe in the power of manifestation. It is a very real thing. There have been many times in my career where I have put words into the universe and they have come to fruition.
Can you name sometimes?
Yeah, I remember early pre-Gangster Grills days, going on the mixtapes talking about I'm the king of this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Before you was a king.
Yeah, I wasn't no king. I remember one time on early Gangster Grills project, I put on the back of the cover, Gangster Grills album coming soon. I didn't have no album deal or had no idea I was.
So you saying talk your shit pretty much because it could happen.
Yeah, put it out.
Big
there.
up yourself.
100%. Yeah, you gotta, you know, and it's like there's a fine line between like humility and arrogance. You know what I'm saying? Like when I get on those tapes, I'm the most cockiest nigga in the world. You know,
Right.
when motherfuckers meet me in real life, like they're like, damn, you cool as shit.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, this was the guy who was telling me it's 2 types, 3 types of
You feel
niggas.
what I'm
I'm like,
saying?
him?
Like, yeah, so
I ain't gonna lie, it is different.
and you know, that's just like I turned it on. I mean, that's
So you got multiple personalities in your.
I wouldn't say I got multiple personalities, but I'm by nature, by human nature, I'm more of a introvert in person and more of an extrovert in my career. You know what I'm saying? So like, and I've been like that a long time. Like, you know, I'm not, when I go into a room, I'm probably not the most boisterous, the loudest.
So how was that being around those type of artists like the Jeezys, the T.I.s? Did their person, like, did you mesh well with personalities being the way you are with some of these gangster artists?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, you know, I'm still a real nigga, so
Right.
you know, I mean, we always got along. I mean, we also, you know, there were times when, you know, when where our egos may have butted heads.
Yeah, I was about to say, have you ever like been through situations where people
Absolutely.
would take your kindness for weakness, pretty much?
I wouldn't
Like, and in that way, being around an environment where you got these artists who act one way and you act this way, you know?
I mean, I wouldn't even say it would just be about take kindness for weakness. I would just say like, because we, in certain instances where, you know, you go from nothing to something, like, you know, it can go to a lot of people's heads, including mine, you know? So like, you know, we had moments where, we may have had disagreements because we was all feeling ourselves, you know, and it was our first run at it, you know, we was all young, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, we might bicker or have difference of opinions over matters that we sit back and laugh about 20 years later, you know, and that's what happens with, you know, men, grown men, mature men, you know, especially most individuals, and I'm sure, you know, clearly black men, people of color in their 20s, when you start getting a lot of money and you don't come from money, you go through all that shit. Everybody does.
Egos, I'm number
Egos,
one, I don't need you.
You want to show it off. You want to put it on. You copping more cars than it is days in the weeks, like trying to get the hottest girl on the block or 9 of the hottest girls on the blocks. Like, it just comes with the territory, you know. I mean, and especially in hip hop, like, you know, hip hop is built on that. Like, hip hop is built on, nigga, I'm the shit. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, because of that, I'm part of that too. Like, you know, when I get on them tapes, like, there's nobody that can touch me. You know, like, there's nobody that comes close to doing what I do. You know what I'm saying? But
I love it.
you know, in my regular everyday life, like, I'm a father. Like, I love to watch movies and vacation and, you know, look at beaches and mountains. And
How many kids you got?
I got 3 daughters.
3 daughters. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. How old, if you don't mind me asking?
22, 17, and 11.
Oh, so yeah.
So one's about to go, my 17-year-old's about to go to Howard.
Oh, graduating high school at 17.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, well, she's
A
about
year
to be
early?
8. She's about to be 18. She's turning 18 later this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty dope.
But she graduates this year.
Yeah,
like
she's
some months.
She's graduating. I don't know when this is dropping, but
Right.
Yeah, she's graduating this year.
Right, that's what's up. And then the 11-year-old should be heading to middle school, if not already there.
Yeah, it's coming. Yeah, 6th grade.
Yeah, it's your boy Lil Baby. I'm right here with Aristotle Investment.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Big Glow, and I'm right here with my boy Aristotle.
Get it?
He about to teach me about these dividends and saving money.
It's your boy DC Young Fly, man. I'm here with my boy Aristotle.
Shout out to Aristotle. I took his class.
Man, this dude is the truth, dog. He just put me on game on like investments, dividends, stock market.
I sit around with a bunch of my friends and we talk about stocks all day now.
Man, I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. Stupid knowledge, you dig?
I've learned so much. Aristotle has put my trading level on top.
I done learned so much about stock trading, options in particular. It's really changed my whole life and concept about money and investing.
This dude taking people off the corner, man.
I can honestly just say that, like, before Aristotle, dude, I was trading off of impulse. A little bit of stuff I learned off of YouTube. But this package, it's the real deal. It'll get you trading off of real facts. You'll be able to back check, and you'll be able to know what you're doing, not just jump in because you think it's right.
I really should go check out their campaign if you really got something going on. Y'all know me, I'm trying to get my 100 M's any kind of way I can. Yep.
This is Aristotle Investments, and welcome to Stock Sundays, where I go over a recap of last week's top news you may have missed, option trade recaps and strategies I take, important data and earnings to look forward to, a watch list for next week. And if you stay to the end, I do a live Q&A.
Live. Every Sunday.
Tap in. So what are your streams of income, if you don't mind me asking? Like, if you had to name them all. And the reason I asked is I'm not pocket watching. You don't have to say how much. I would just like to know, because we like to know how are men holding themselves up financially. So could you list those?
So the first one that people most know me for, obviously, is for DJing. Mm-hmm. So I do events.
That's one. Events. That's two.
Yeah. So well, that's one.
Oh, just that goes into one.
Actually, DJing, like being at events. I have a Vegas residency. I do tours.
Okay.
I do shows. I do things of that nature.
So that's just all in one, events?
Yes, that's actually like live performance.
Live performance.
As a DJ.
Mm-hmm.
My next one is I am an artist that, puts out my own albums and projects, as well as host other people's projects, which are normally known as Gangster mixtapes in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the mixtape side. I'm a CEO of my record label with my two partners, Don Cannon and Lake Sheezy, Lake Show Morrison.
We'll be like Cannon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
our
label is called Generation Now. I'm an owner of a studio, a 25,000 square foot studio in Atlanta, in the Georgia Tech area, called Mean Street Studio / Generation Now, which I partner with Atlantic Records on that, which is also a partner of my record label. I do voice imaging. I do voice imaging for various radio stations around the country. I do voice work for BET, like the BET Hip Hop Awards, things of that nature.
That's fine.
Real estate investments. I own multiple properties, apartment buildings. I am an investor in a couple of different startups and other well-known brands.
That's 7.
So that's about like a couple of different investments, and then I have in my portfolio. I invest some money into stocks and bonds. Am I forgetting anything?
Streaming, you already said that as an artist and as a DJ. Yeah, that was 8 so far.
I mean, and then there's the publishing company. I can keep going, but yeah.
So you got nearly 10 streams of income of just money just coming in from different directions. I like to hear that, because that's the same here, and people, and they're right. The average millionaire has 7 streams of income, and they, of course, you might look at everybody and like, that's it. But really, it's, what I'm saying? It's a lot that goes into who he is and what he do. And I really want him to say that.
Does this count as one? Because this is my newest infatuation, but I'm an avid art collector now.
Art?
Yeah.
What lane of art, if you don't mind me asking?
I like a lot of collectibles. and urban artists. I guess it's fair to say urban artists, or not even just urban, but what, contemporary in a sense. Yeah. So that's my new twist.
And would you mind, now that I asked you the streams of income, could you mind telling us what are some of the outside investments you made outside of music? You did say real estate. We were talking. You do have a music studio in Stockton. Now you already listed it. Yeah, you said the outside investments you made.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to ask this question: where do you see hip hop 10 years from now, in your opinion, or in the next decade? If you had to predict the 2030s.
I'm terrible at that question, bro. You know how people will ask you, like, where do you see yourself in a year from now? Or
Yeah.
I had an assistant one time, great girl, great woman, and she asked me that, literally a couple years before everything popped off. She was like, where do you see yourself being in a year or 2 years from now? And I was like, man, I don't know. Like, I don't know, but I say I don't know. I don't say it in the sense of I have no idea what I say it in the sense of nigga, I'm gonna be out here. It's gonna be something. You know what I'm saying? So I say that to say, like, I've never been good at that question. Like, where do I see myself, or the music business, or, where is it going to be in 5-10 years? I mean, obviously at this point we have to imagine that AI is going to be playing some form of,
So you believe AI will have a bigger presence in hip hop? That's your
have
prediction.
a bigger presence in life.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, it will.
Like, not even just hip hop, not even just music, just in us as human beings. Like, it's coming. You know what I mean? Pause. But
yeah,
that shit is, believe what the movies tell you. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
for sure.
So you believe it's going to have a positive impact or negative impact?
It's going to have both. I mean, it's like most things in the world. Like, it's hard to really to say when something is just, it's not as black and white as, like, it's either good or it's bad. Like, both things can be true. Like, it's like social media. Both things are true. Like, social media has been terrible for society, but it's also been fucking amazing for society. Like,
right.
It is literally made millionaires, if not billionaires, just off of people picking up their phone. Like, how can you hate on that? You know what I mean? Like, that is the ultimate, if not American dream, just world dream to be able
social media. I'm proof.
You feel what I'm saying? You are living proof. You are living proof. Like, so I would never sit here and just, with something that has created so many opportunities for so many people, just to be like, that shit is bad for society.
So what are some of the positives you see AI doing for hip hop?
For hip hop, I mean, if handled correctly, I mean, it could allow, some of our artists that aren't here anymore to still have a voice. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if the estates were, involved in going forward and allowing, or someone properly using, the likeness of some of the greats. Who wouldn't want to hear some? I mean, it's up for debate. Some may say, I don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? Some may want to hear that. It's just so many things that can be done with it. And I'm not going to say it's going to take over. Like, I just think it's definitely going to have a presence. Yeah. I think at some point, the social media bubble will burst, as far as like trends, so many trends, like being what they are in music because of like the newest happenings and everything. I think like the 15 minutes of fame is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and now we're on like the 5 seconds of fame. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So do you believe? Because I do want to ask this. Do you believe that? Because I believe in supply and demand when it comes to any industry. So the demand for a new hit, do you believe it's becoming hard for the industry to supply the new demand? Because it seems like they want to hit every week now versus how long it used to take back in the day.
Yeah, our attention spans are like non-existent. I mean, shit is over in 3 hours now. You know what I'm saying? Like the news cycle is, even if you have a scandal going on, you can tell yourself nobody's going to be thinking about that shit in 3 days because it's going to be some new shit. 20 years ago, people would literally start promoting their albums 6 months in advance, 7 months in advance. They'd say you'd be in February and you'd be like, my album's coming out October 29th. You know what I mean? Like that, you dare try to do that shit right now unless you might be unless you Taylor Swift or Beyonce or, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? Nobody's remembering that. Like,
they won't remember when your album come out?
I'm just saying today, if someone tried to do that today,
right,
and right now and saying their album's coming out in 7 months,
right,
to promote their album, like, you can't do that. Like, you got to be like, mom's coming out in 2 weeks. Mom's coming out tonight. Mom's coming out next month.
Why? Why can't you campaign longer? Like Dolph did it. Remember, he did it with the car, and he was promoting the car. Like, you can't do a
How long was that? But he also had he did it with like a
prop,
in a sense. Yeah, like, he was campaigning for a specific thing. But you can't continue to do that. Like, if you think about it, most times artists are about to drop. You hear about it a week in advance now, or
right,
2 weeks in advance.
I used to always wonder that. I used to wonder why they didn't like have like a promotional campaign to it.
It was like that.
You can't do that now though.
It depends on what artist you are. I mean, certain artists are different. I mean, there was a time when people would feel like you had to promote an album. Like, you can't just drop an album. And then
I thought so too.
This woman named Beyonce came out and just dropped an album, didn't promote it, and just put it out and changed the game. There's game changers. There's always game changers.
So people tried to follow Beyonce's formula right after that?
Absolutely.
And it works.
Beyonce was the first person to do that. That didn't exist before Beyonce did it.
And what album did she do that?
I think it was the Beyonce album. It was the Beyonce. Yeah, I think it was.
What year that came out?
What was that? Like 2015, 2014? When Beyonce just dropped an album and didn't promote it. And that's when it started. Yeah, like 15, 16. Like, before that, you had to promote a project. Like, and then Beyonce just dropped an album. So, people followed suit. People always follow suit. People follow trends. Like, that's the name of the game. That's how things go in the business. There's a lot of, I mean, like, at one point in time, you would never, ever be able to get away with saying somebody else's lyrics or reciting someone else's rap songs. Never, ever, ever. Then this artist named Snoop Dogg put an album out and had this song called Lottie Dottie. That was a Slick Rick song. And he said the raps exactly the same way. That never existed before in hip hop. Like, you couldn't do that. Like, that was almost sinful. And he broke the code, and and from there, now it's not taboo to say another artist's raps or things like that. So somebody has to break the mold. Before, there was a time in rap music where a love song, like, what? And this artist named LL Cool J came out with a song called I Need Love. Like,
yeah,
what? Talking about love? That was, nah, it's fresh to death, hard as hell. Battle anybody, I don't care who you tell. And then, he showed his soft side, pause, and now, look at hip hop now. So somebody has to be a game changer. Like, there's always a game changer or a disruptor. You know what I'm saying? At some point. And I guarantee in the next 5-10 years, when it comes to hip hop, there's going to be another disruptor. 50 Cent was a disruptor. Kanye West was a disruptor. Drake was a disruptor. Wayne was a disruptor. DJ Drama was a disruptor. There's got to be disruptors.
Okay. So if I had to ask this, if I'm a dude, middle class or on the streets, I got 50 to 100 racks on me, could I make myself pop as an artist with that? Or what would you recommend somebody investing that type of money into themselves to become at least somewhat build a fan base with? Do you think it's possible with that type of money?
Hell, motherfucker, yeah. I did
For
it
real?
for a lot less.
In 2024.
I don't care what year it is. 50 to 100 racks is still 50 to 100 racks, point blank, period. I mean, again, at the end of the day, it all depends on the music and the product. You know what I'm saying? Like, are we talking about, like, you got some shit or are you not sure?
Let's just say
It's
he
amazing.
actually talented.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you make the right moves, and unfortunately, talent doesn't always win. But when you combine talent, hustle and drive, and intellect, and then you kind of, hip hop has got somewhat of a, not somewhat, but hip hop is still rooted in the streets. So it's kind of important that, to have that somewhere, on your side. That helps. It's not, depends on what type of music. And even sometimes, you'd be surprised the ones that don't even make the street music, they still got somebody that's in the streets on their side, but if you have all those elements in place, yeah, you can make it work with 50 to 100 racks.
And where would you say they should invest that money first? Like let's say I take 10,000, go put it here into this.
I think obviously, nobody does it alone. So I think it's very important to have somewhat of a team. So I'm not sure if they have those around them, whether they have a main producer or a DJ or a manager, a lawyer. Definitely, invest in getting a lawyer. That is definitely key. That should be one of the first things that you do.
I don't think no hood guy is thinking of every last thing you just said.
Yeah, you got me. Because at some point that paperwork's gonna come, and
I think manager, yes, but lawyer and all that.
Yeah, you got,
So if you could start over,
because most of us don't, especially early on, unless you just, on a different level, you're not gonna understand that paperwork. And you're gonna sign your life away. So having a good lawyer, and honestly, a good lawyer is not always the cheapest lawyer. So you know what I mean. It's definitely a wise investment to get a solid lawyer that understands the music business. Get an entertainment lawyer, for sure.
So do you believe like jewelry and image is still the biggest thing in rap? Like, as far as like, do you think they need to go pick up some of that too?
It depends. It depends on what you're selling, like what type of artist you are. It's not a necessity, I mean, it depends on what your raps are. Like, you can't, if you're rapping about a certain style and a certain image and you're not looking the part, people are going to question that. Hip hop is still all about authenticity at the end of the day. But, you can, nowadays, like, there's an allure, a mystique about, not being seen, or, how you're approaching your fan base. I mean, are we talking about an ugly motherfucker? Are we talking about a nigga that gets women? Like, if you a handsome dude and 6 foot, whatever, like you might not need as much jewelry as the next man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they always say like, you know, the ones that make it is the ones that men want to be and women want to fuck. You know, that's what like.
So you got to have all of that. Like you got to have the looks. You got to be somewhat attractive looking to even pop as an artist in your opinion.
Not necessarily. I mean, you know, there's been artists that don't fit that mold, so I don't necessarily think you have to fit that mold. Right. I don't want to discourage anyone that's not at a certain height or athletic build or you fuck all that. Like, you know, talent wins.
Yeah,
at the
Biggie
end of the day.
was one of the first ones.
Black and ugly as ever, however, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if you a talented motherfucker, like make that shit work for you. You know, authenticity is what's most important. You know what I'm saying? So no, don't go out and just, if you can't afford the jewelry that like, that's really gonna shine in front of the cameras,
don't put it on.
Nah, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? People respect real. Like that was why, you know, that's why the people I named, whether it was 50, whether it was Kanye, whether it was Jeezy, whether it was Drake, like they were all authentic, you know what I mean, to who they were. Like whether it would be as street as they are or as emotional as they are, you know, and that's what wins at the end of the day. Even when I look at myself, like if you really go back like through my discography or through my mixtapes, like you can hear what I may have been going through or where I'm at that point in my life through what I'm speaking on tapes. Like, you know, cause I approach it the same way an artist approaches it. Like, you know, what I talk about on mixtapes at 45, 46 was not what I was talking about at 24, 25. Like I would have made a statement about my therapist told me the other day X, Y, and Z. Like
today, but when you was 25, you wouldn't.
Fuck no.
What would you say? What would DJ Drama say at 25?
I was, you know, you can go back and listen to it. I mean,
I remember most of it.
It's documented. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I'm
saying, like, give me an example of like, man, this is shit I was on when I was 25. Like, what type of mindset?
I was saying some wild shit. I was saying, you know, I used to be Samuel Jackson because I had too many snakes on my plane. Now I'm Jack Nicholson because I'm shining on you niggas. Like,
yeah.
Fly shit like that. Like,
Okay.
you know, every street nigga ain't a rapper. Every rapper ain't a street nigga. When you get it right, you know, look what we got. They say your brain's most creative in the sleep.
I remember that one.
I got tons of them. I got tons of them.
I really thought like I really loved that when you were coming on those and dropping gems. Yeah, I definitely witnessed it on Lil Wayne, Meek Mill, and Jeezy, of course. So you were on Trap or Die.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And I remember that Gangster. Yeah.
There's no Trap or Die without DJ Drama.
Trap or Die.
Yeah, what a
I
time.
know you know the.
I mean that and when you mention, when we talk about, just to make it full circle,
right?
When you talk about I don't know if you said breakout or
what was your breakout moment?
Trap or Die. Trap or Die.
This is when I knew Trap or Die was
that
big.
was my breakout.
I knew it was big because I was a kid riding to football, listening to that. When I played 9-year-old football, and that was my hype song to go crack a nigga heads. Trap or Die.
Trap or Die changed
right? I knew if I heard that before the football game, it's a wrap.
That changed my life.
But this is when I really knew Trap or Die was legendary in the streets. Had to been in high school, my 11th grade year in high school, when Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City came on.
Oh yeah.
And that interlude, what them dudes say, last time I checked, that was the man on these streets. Yeah. I was like, California boys are listening to this shit.
Bro, I was on tour.
I was like, damn.
I was on tour with T.I. at the time. And we were on a nationwide tour. Every city I went to, I heard cars playing Trap or Die. Like, that Trap or Die changed my life in every way possible. Like the type of car that I drove,
damn,
my bank account. No one knew what I looked like before Trap or Die. Like before Trap or Die came out, people thought I was dark skinned and fat based upon how my voice sounded. And we had put a DVD out with Trap or Die, and there's a part in the DVD where Jeezy pulls up on me in the 4th Ward at the gas station, and that was the first time people saw what DJ Drama looked like. Like to that point, no one had ever seen me. I had never put my face, or I had never even, matter of fact, yeah, the back of Trap or Die might have been the first time I put my face on a mixtape, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Thug Motivation was the mixtape.
That was the album.
That was the album. So because I remember, because I like Trap or Die was.
That was the mixtape. Yeah, that came out before Thug
But Air Force was on Trap or Die mixtape.
It was on both of them. It was
you did Air Forces too?
I didn't produce it. Shorty Red produced Air Forces.
Okay, Shorty Red.
But I talked my shit on it. But yeah, Shorty Red produced most of Trap or Die and a good portion of.
And he from Atlanta too. I know Shorty Red.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, that's hard. So like, what song, if you don't mind me asking, made you the most money? Or top 2, 3 that made, like, these 3 literally made me the most money.
I would say EXO Tour Life.
That Lil Uzi.
Yeah. Jack Harlow, What's Poppin'. And if I had to put one of my own in there, I would probably, it's a toss up. Culturally, I would say Canon Remix. But chart wise, I would probably say Canon Remix was on dedication to with Lil Wayne.
Okay.
It was also on my album, but popularity wise, I would probably say Wishing, featuring Chris Brown.
Chris Brown, Wishing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Nah, that's dope. One thing I can say is, I did want to ask this question. It was one where this one. How do you believe your name will go down in history?
Oh man. When it's all said and done, I just want my name to be known as like Drum always continuously fed the streets. You know, he gave his all to the culture. And he stood for everything that was hip hop, like in all facets. You know, I really feel like I've touched all spectrum of the culture of the genre. You know what I'm saying? Like from the most gangsterist of street music to the most hipsterist backpacker to, you know, like to the most unexpected, to, you know, just, you know, somebody made a tweet one time and said DJ Drama went from Bahamadia and the Roots to T.I., Jeezy, and Lil Wayne to Lil Uzi and Jack Harlow. Like,
that's a 30-year.
If that's not commendable,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, just to.
So you're rangy.
Yeah, just to talk about my range, like, you know, I feel like it makes me very humbled to know that, you know, when I'm long gone, there will be, my voice will live on and will carry on. You know, that's a That's an amazing feeling to have. You know what I'm saying? As somebody who's, you know, I started this as a hobby. You know, started because I wanted to get my name on a flyer. And again, like, you know, when I think about where I started from, and again, like watching the Roots be my first success story of realizing how you can do this shit, to, you know, coming up with Tip, Jeezy, and Wayne, and so many others. I really, it's hard. It's, you know, it's hard for me these days to even just say those names, because there's so many artists that I've worked with that have been very influential in my career. And like, I almost want to stop naming anyone, you know, and those three are definitely very important to me, but like there's so many people. And even when people talk about like certain mixtapes, like it's almost like every other day I'm like, damn.
Dream Chasers too.
Like we could go for days, you know. We could
Dedication,
Gucci, like Fab, like
Fab.
Cam, like Currency, like don't get me started, because it's Pharrell, like it's Little Brother, Tyler the Creator. I mean, you know, I literally want to.
You make the beat too?
No, and that's the thing. I don't even make beats.
So explain to me how that works. Like, so
I'm getting away with murder.
Yeah, you are, aren't you? Because that's what's confusing me. I'm like, oh, like you're talking shit.
I'm the bells and the whistles. It's a great job I have.
That is amazing. So you don't.
I'm like a content creator before the content creators.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you know when I stopped producing? When I found out I was having my first child, because it wasn't bringing in the money. So I said, oh yeah, let me focus on this mixtape thing.
So just for your name to be on something is beneficial to the artist. And I do know you had a series of mixtapes that came out that were beneficial for artists to even be on, because people wanted what you were selling. It was a demand.
Gangster Grills as a brand is the most important and the biggest mixtape series of all time. Point blank, period. People can argue who the biggest or best mixtape DJ that
and not naming like any order, like what were some of your peers, or what are some of your peers in there?
There's a lot. I mean, Clue, you know, Clue's always going to come up. You know, Kid Capri, he's from the era before me. You know, it depends on eras.
Your era, the trap music, mixtape era, who were some of your peers?
There was a lot of Green Lantern, Who Kid. I mean, they were my idols. You know, they became my peers, but they were my idols. Like, there might not be a Gangster Grills if it wasn't for Green Lantern or Who Kid. Like, I was obsessed with those two guys, you know, listening to them. Like, between the two of them, just what they brought to the mixtape game, like Green with his creativity and his innovation, and Who Kid with his marketing and everything. You see even Drake's new record has a Who Kid drop on there. Like, that's a salute to what Who Kid and the G Unit movement meant to the culture. But I was just saying that, Gangster Grills as a brand is the most important mixtape series of all time, point blank, period. And, you know, I started it in 2000. It's going on 24 years, and, you know, 22 years later, Tyler the Creator, you know, who was a youth when I started Gangster Grills, calls me to be part of his album, Call Me If You Get Lost, and we win the Grammy for Best Rap Album of the Year. Like, if that ain't saying something, I don't know what is.
And how many Grammys are you responsible or put your hands on?
That Grammy is my only Grammy.
Got one though.
But, you know, I'm part of a label that is heavily Grammy nominated. My business partner, Don Cannon, is also a Grammy Award winner. my artists are Grammy nominated. So we're gonna bring some more home soon.
Nah, you will, and you're not even done.
Nah, I'm not even done, man.
Not even close to retirement. Like this shit.
There's no retiring. There's no retiring. There's no retiring. I mean, you know, I work smarter, not harder these days. My business partner loves golf. I've become somewhat of a gamer. I haven't played video games in 20 plus years, and
Nah, you play them.
yeah, I love them.
I need to get back on them too.
But you know, I mean, I found the time for a hobby. But when it comes to this music, like I ain't did nothing yet. That's how I look at it. Like that's how you gotta look at it. Like
In your eyes right now, you feel like that's how I feel too.
you got to. I mean, and I'm grateful for all the accolades and everything that you know. I'm very blessed when people tell me I'm a legend, and you know the things that I hear when I walk through the streets or through the airports or wherever.
So what's something? If you haven't done nothing,
You have to approach it that way, because at the end of the day, it's like all that was yesterday. I don't want to always talk about what I did. You know what I mean?
so there's no point where you
wanna-
like, okay, if I make this per month and per year, I'm out of the game.
Oh, you talking about financially?
Yeah, like you don't feel like there's a point to where like, cause I got a point where I'm like, okay, if I make this money, I'm off social media.
Yeah, that's social media though. I mean,
Oh yeah, not the game of working though. I'm always do
that's
something I like
different.
to make some money.
Yeah, I mean, I love hip hop too much. You know, I'm invested in the culture, so
Right.
I'm like, I'm a rap nerd. You know what I mean? Like, I know everything that's going on with everything, or I try to. So, yeah, there's probably an amount of money that,
Could make you sit down.
to an extent, sit down. But
Would you mind sharing like what can make DJ Drama sit down and be like, fuck this shit? Per month or per year?
I don't know if I could do per month, per year. I just need like, I need like a 250.
250 hymns?
I
Damn.
need like a
That's all.
250, 350.
And you done.
And if I get that, that means, you know, that means that we all are splitting it. So that's really cool, because if I get 250, my partners, they got to take 250 each too. So that's 750. So to just, you know, be out of here. Yeah. Now a good 100, like, you know,
Yeah.
might take a year off.
Year off?
Yeah.
And just
But,
play video game, chill with your family.
you know, we're not far from it. You know,
I know.
we're not far from it. Got some work to do.
Facts. So how do you feel about people like, not to call these guys out, but like DJ Vlad, DJ Academics having the name DJ, but not necessarily participating in music? Like, why are they DJs?
Well, first of all, DJ Vlad is from the era that I'm from. He was a mixtape DJ.
Oh wow, he was.
Yeah, and he actually has some very legendary mixtapes under his belt. He has one on Tupac and one on Biggie. It's called a series called Rap Phenomenon. So
he been on that legendary DJ stuff before time.
Absolutely. Vlad was he was one of my peers. Like Vlad was one of those guys. So he has every right to have DJ in front of his name. And to my knowledge, DJ Academics, when he was in school, where did he go? He went to Norfolk. He went to Rutgers. He went to Rutgers. He went to Rutgers University. To my knowledge, he was a DJ at Rutgers University, and he played music. So,
oh wow, you guys were DJs the whole time.
yeah, I told you I know all this shit. So,
Right.
yeah, so he has every right to put DJ in front of his name. I mean, if you look at his Instagram, it doesn't even say DJ Academics. It just says Academics. And
yeah.
people know him as Academics, but you know, I'm sure Academics could do
Still
a little
turn.
jigga if he needed to. But I mean, both those guys, what they have created and what they have done coming from DJ backgrounds are the ultimate success stories. You know, they took different routes than I did, but you know, those are guys that, you know, I look at again as my peers. Like, you know, they took a dollar and a dream, a mixtape hustle, and turned it into an empire. Like, you gotta salute that. You gotta salute that.
Nah, for sure. So do your daughters like know how significant you are?
Yeah, they're aware.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like how did you instill that into them? Like you just like do you like show them some of your work sometimes?
No, I mean, they're a part of my life. So, you know, they grew up in it. You know, they grew up going to events with me. You know, from the artists that I signed, like, you know, they were around them when they were young. So, you know, they become the cool kids at school because of it. And, you know, like I'm a hip hop dad, you know what I'm saying? I'm not, you know, I don't wear a suit and working 9 to 5. So, you know, I'm out on the road or I'm on tour in the summertime. They come to the shows. Like, they've gotten to meet some fantastic people. So yeah, they're very aware, and you know, they love the perks of it. And
you know, sometimes people say like when you're at a certain standpoint, sometimes your kids might not even, you know, be too aware. They just see you as mom and dad type thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still dad. Like, I still think I'm corny and shit. I can't dance. Like, you know, they definitely tell me that. So like, I think that's every celebrity or, you know, person in our field, like how the kids look at them. Like, they're not at all by me in no way, shape, or form, you know, but let little Tyler come around and, you know what I'm saying, my daughter has a fit, you know what I mean? So that's just that, you know, that's just good parenting. I mean, yeah, if your kids are in awe of you, that I don't know, that's kind of cringy if you think about it. If you really think about it, like if your kids hold you to you're not just mom and dad, or they don't see the corn in you or whatever, like, yeah, it's cringy.
Yeah, my kid, my son, 4 years old, already trying me.
Exactly, see what I'm saying? Yeah. I can only imagine what it's like with a son. You gotta be ready, because you know, you can go at him till you can whoop him until you ready to fight back and might get one up on you.
Nah. But nah, man. So I'm gonna conclude this interview. But is there any last words or motivation you would like to say? So I know you got it. The way you do it on the mixtapes, I know you got some.
I mean, man, I think me and you sitting right here is living proof to anybody watching this that, you know, if you can think it, you can achieve it, you know. We both, you know, started with an idea and turned it into an empire, you know what I'm saying? I think that, again, like the power of manifestation, faith, you know, being a good person and, you know, having love in your heart is, you know, goes a long way in life. And, you know, just, we only get one of these things, man. We only get one of them. So you got to love it. You know, you got to take every day for what it is. And, you know, just regardless, I said on Dream Chasers, I think it was 3, I said, even on my worst day, I live like someone on their best day.
I remember that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's, I think about that at times when I might be down or going through some things, or, you know, like even on my worst of days, someone would pray to have that as, you know, their day. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen pictures of kids that sleep on rocks. So, you know, what do I have to complain about? You know, we're all blessed. We're all grateful. I'm thankful I get to do what I love for a living. Generation Now, look out for new Kai Cash, new artists, just signed to the label, new DJ Drama album on the way, Generation Now compilation, and I'm just finishing up my book deal, so that'll be in the works too.
Could I ask what type of book?
I have two actually. One is going to be a children's book, and the other one is going to be a memoir or of some sorts. I haven't decided yet in that direction.
And by memoir, you mean?
My story.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a documentary /
something that'll, it'll be able to go to a screen.
That'll be dope. And then you gonna make it a film off of spin off the book too? Let's get it. I can't wait to see that. I definitely would like to see that.
Oh, one of the streams of income I left out too. Also,
there we go.
Go check out the Gangster Girls podcast that I did in partnership with K.W.O on all streaming platforms now.
So now you have a podcast too.
Yeah, it's a limited series. I did an 8-episode run. My first season. Next season is in the works, but it's 8 episodes with 8 legendary figures that I did mixtapes with.
Okay.
And Generation Now Films. I'm sorry, I forgot about that too.
He has
Shout
12 streams of income
Love,
now.
Juwan Lee. Yeah.
He's also great at partnerships. That's something there. That's dope. So y'all heard it here, man. I got the legend DJ Drama. Definitely gave me so many memories as a child and as a teenager. Thank you for that, by the way.
Most definitely.
And I speak on the behalf of the culture. Thank you.
Absolutely.
For
Thank you.
the many memories that us 90s and 80s babies will be able to share. Because that's really who really was listening to that.
That's love.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we really thank you for that. Even some 70s baby. I know that generation right there, we was heavy on it.
For sure.
For sure. So thank you for that. And that concludes the episode, Kicking It with the OGs. Y'all know what it is, the most legendary podcast to ever hit the face of the YouTube. Man, you know what's going on. It's your boy Aristotle Investment, live from the A. Let's get it.
And like that, we gone.
Here's why you need to get this ebook right now. It is the best stock market ebook on the market. And to cater to you guys' short attention spans, everything I can't say on one page, I say in the video. So all you gotta do is click watch video, and it'll go straight to a video. What's going on, Mythbusters? Okay. Let's get this thing started. Let's get this thing through. You'll see that I'm talking
Swinging
about a lot.
is something we're always going to be doing, day trading especially.
Facebook users, click the link. Instagram users, you can simply comment the word book on any of my posts or under this post to get the link sent to your DM for the book. It is $24. It will literally teach you from A to Z how to get started. Let's get it.